Okay, so what you want to do is get your brass sheets and cut them into 1 centimeters, and you want 4 of these. What I've done is I've just filed them off nice and neat, put a black dot on there where I want to drill the hole. What I'll do now is I'll centre punch that, and then I'll drill a hole for it, and that'll be the beginning of the hinge. Okay, so I've now drilled the hole. What you need to now do is, because it's not going to be directly in the centre, you just remove the top one, get the middle one, just flip it over, put the top one back on, pop the screw through, and that should all line up nice and neat. Okay, that's the first stage. What we now need to do is get your 4th piece, just pop it in between the 2 pieces pointing one way. See that it looks just like that. Okay, this is where it starts to get a bit fiddly now. Basically what you need to do, when you've got this clamped together, you got your nut and bolt in there. With your 4th piece, you need to map out, like I've done here, a line. Basically, this piece underneath is going to be going into K&S, which is that thickness, so it will be going in there. Okay, that acts as a brace and gives you the arm. So what you need to do, you need to file this top rectangle off. Also, for it to be able to bend like that inside the joint, this black section needs to be missed. That needs to be filed away. Now this is where it does get a little bit fiddly, and it is kind of just trial and error. File a bit off. If it doesn't work, file a bit more off. But just don't go too crazy, because if you file too much off, it's not going to work. So what I'll do is I'll go away and I'll do that now, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so I've filed it away now. There we go. You can see that is the point the K&S will fit onto. Okay, and what I've done inside there, there we go, that's it filed down inside. So that'll sit inside there. And it will bend like so. Alright, and what I've done on this side now is I've marked out the piece where I want to cut, and then once again the K&S will sit onto there. So I'll go and do that now. Okay, so all the parts for the hinge are now done, filed. So the next point now is to solder this piece to this piece. The best way to do this is make sure you use some soldering flux. Best thing ever. But one important thing to remember is to keep this clamped like this. So keep the nut and bolt in there. Otherwise, when you try and solder this together, it could be off. So just make sure you keep the nut and bolt in there to keep it aligned. Okay, so I'll go and do that now. The next stage would be to solder the K and S onto there, onto your points that you've just made. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go away and I'll do those. I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so that's what it looks like once it's done, all soldered on. Alright, now that can bend. The next stage, to fit it onto the armature, you need to get your bigger bit of K and S, which is already on the armature. It sits on like that, like so, and then cut yourself another big piece of K and S that fits on top, and then that becomes the wrist. And then through that bigger piece you get your removable hands, which is the same size as a smaller K and S. Okay, so it all just slots into each other. That will get soldered into the arm, and then the wrist piece of K and S, the bigger piece of K and S, gets soldered onto this smaller piece, and then the hands go into the other end, but you don't solder the hands in because they're removable. Yeah, basically all of that now can be filed down into a smoother points. You don't want no sharp edges, just to make it a little bit neater. Also inside, if I just quickly unscrew this, he says, there we go, all the two pieces apart. That is what you will end up with. So you've got two piece and then a one piece there, and all you do is you just marry them together. Should line up. What you can do with the one piece is just smooth all the edges round. You'll find it will move a lot better, and you won't have points sticking out when the hinge is bent. You can do the same with this one as well. Okay, that's basically it for your hinge. It's quite fiddly, but when you get to know what you're doing, it can move really fast. The production time isn't that long. Couple of minutes to sand and file down and cut each piece, so just get it all ready beforehand, just do it all at one go. Yeah, and when you're soldering, just make sure you've got flux. It's the best thing. So yeah, any questions, just drop me an email.